Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Studs and Scrubs podcast. I am one of your hosts, Stu Coffey. With us today is our regular co-host, Eli, and a special guest with us is Joe Thornton. Joe!
That's
Jumbo, thanks for coming on.
General Joe Thornton. Have you seen those pictures where it's like when they make them look like Civil War soldiers?
He's got the uniform on.
Yes, and just his long beard. Yes, Jumbo Joe here, checking in. How's everybody doing?
Hey, you know what? Your Sharks aren't doing great in the standings, but good vibes. Good vibes.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Anyways, Nick, as always, and his son Eli joined us. If you watched the Christmas episode, New Year's episode, we're going to do our playoff predictions this week. But first, since we're a fantasy hockey podcast, we do have to talk fantasy. Our league ended tragically. Since we last recorded, Nick and I went head-to-head. We've had a little hiatus recording because I beat Nick.
Oh, sorry.
And he refused to record. It hurt our friendship. It was a big thing.
It did take me a while to recover. But, I'm back now. All is good. But honestly, don't let your kids run track if you want free time at all. But just kidding. Love you, Zoe. That's kind of what's been taking up most of my life in the last few weeks is work and track. What else we've been doing? I feel like that's pretty much it.
All of it. Some travel. You know what? It's funny though.
We did do a little traveling. That is true. I can't believe I forgot that. So I did another Spartan race out in Charlotte, North Carolina. That was a lot of fun, very muddy. And Eli and I did take a little trip to Minnesota a couple weeks ago on his spring break. Capitals were in St. Paul to take on the Wild. I tried to time it a little bit. Got there a little early. I think Ovi was 5 goals away at the time. The Wild ended up winning. Ovi didn't score. But still a great trip, I would say. The Wild's arena, very cool. A lot there. We'll have to kind of dive into that a little bit on another podcast or something. But very cool place. They got a lot of neat displays kind of in the concourse area and as you're walking around and different things. Some Hobie Baker stuff. Team USA, Miracle on Ice stuff, Minnesota, obviously hockey is king up there. So we can dive into that another time, but a very cool place. Highly recommend checking out a Wild game. It was a lot of fun. I mean, we were rooting for the Caps, but, I don't hate the Wild. Fleury was there. It was the game that Ovi called the team back onto the ice. They all shook Fleury's hand afterwards. So that was pretty special, too, just to be at the game that, those two were that's the last time, they're on the ice together. And just the battles that they've had over the years and the career that both of those guys have had. We've talked about this before, but just like the eras that we're in and like all the all-time greats that are like playing now that are, careers are kind of coming to an end, but it's like, all right, well, we've been so lucky to see Crosby and Ovechkin and Fleury, McDavid, Matthews, McKinnon, McCarr, and that's just even now, you and I, Stu, when we were growing up, Yzerman, Shanahan, Fedorov, Joe Sakic. Yeah, there was just so many great players in this time. But so that was just very cool to be there.
That long, right? I mean, I know we're getting old, but we're still in our 30s. Probably since you and I were 10-ish years old or so. Barely in our 30s.
Me, I'm barely still in my 30s. Yes.
Right. Almost on the other side. Hey, that's okay. I'll be 35 next month. Less than a month. But 20, 25 years, we've been watching hockey, and we've seen
so many all-time greats.
Probably most of the top 10 points of all-time players. Probably most of the top 20 points all-time. And you and I have been fortunate enough to see quite a few of these people live.
Yeah.
I never saw Gretzky play, but I always tell the story. I saw Lemieux play. He was still sick with his back and his cancer. He had come back from his cancer the year I saw him. and it was like game time decision. He didn't play, so I always lie and say I saw him play, but I saw him in his suit watching. But
yeah, I've seen a game with Gretzky on the bench before.
that counts. That counts. Did you go to? He was coaching Coyotes in St. Louis.
Yeah. DC.
Oh, you were still living out there, probably, huh?
I think I was in college. Went home over a Christmas break or something. And
Yeah. That
So,
lines up. But
yeah.
anyways,
So
but that is cool though. Especially probably even cooler for Eli, to be honest. The handshake moment is like at the time it's sort of weird, right? We talked about it, how like when there's no announcers and you're at the rink and the game's over, and Fleury didn't play, right? He was the backup, so it's like, oh, what's going on here? And we posted it, and it went a little viral for us. It went viral of your video of like, oh, this is sweet.
Yeah.
But it's like that's one of those moments in a legendary career that's going to be brought up.
Yeah.
When you see highlight reels and videos, the goal on his back, the breaking Gretzky's record goal, the Stanley Cup win, the shaking the hands of Fleury. It's like that's part of the legacy, because how often were the Caps and the Penguins going against each other for the cup? You know what I mean? Like, and you're going to be able to look back. It's kind of like the crazy Yzerman triple overtime goal. That didn't win the Stanley Cup. That didn't break some record. It was just so iconic to the Red Wings that it's like to be like, I was at that game.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like it's going to be one of those cool moments that hockey nerds remember forever.
Yeah.
And you got to be there. It's pretty awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
Well, Eli, not to throw you, throw something at you right away that we didn't prep, but how about your little road trip? Did you have a favorite moment with it, or something about the game that was cool to you, or even the Excel Center that you liked walking around?
I don't know. I did like their Hobie Baker exhibit. They had some cool stuff there. I think they had the mold for the trophy. Some jerseys. That was pretty cool stuff.
Yeah, they had some like original Hobie Baker stuff, and then even I think they had like a little display of like the current Hobie Baker award winner, which I think, well, they've announced the new one, but
the newest one was last week, I think.
Yeah.
Which, just to pause on that real quick, because I don't watch NCAA hockey very much, I don't follow it, but how about Western Michigan?
Yeah.
First appearance in the Frozen Four, first appearance in the final, first win. And my aunt went there. My dad's from Michigan, right? And one of my aunts went to Western. And they are good at hockey, but they don't compete with the big dogs normally, right? Yeah. And it was just pretty cool. I did watch that whole game. I watched the national championship because I was going to watch a NHL game, and I was like, oh, wait, hold up. The final's on. I'm going to watch this.
I had some buddies that were at that because it was in St. Louis. Which would have been cool to go to, but I mean, again, we just had so much stuff going on that it's like kind of hard to.
Oh yeah, it's about and track is like that. I used to be in okay shape for hockey. I would run a lot, and I hated running.
Yeah,
but I just did it to stay in shape. And so, the high school I went to, but it was tiny, right?
Yeah.
So they convinced me to join the cross country team one time. Because they're like, you literally are running while we're doing practice. Just join the team. And I'm like, yeah, but I don't like to run. It's just I have to stay in shape. And I did it, and I couldn't believe, one, how much harder it was to like race a run than just like run. And to keep pace and to go against other people and not realize like, oops, I sprinted and now I'm dead, tired, right?
Yeah.
But that same year, come springtime, it's track season. And since the school was so small, they're like, come to this track meet. You could be on the team and compete. Like, if you compete in a few events, as long as you don't get last place, you get the team points.
Yeah.
Right? There's the individual points and the team points. And so they were trying to go to the next round or whatever it's called, the sectionals or something.
Yeah.
And since it's a small school, they're kind of playing other small schools, but the public schools were much larger student body, right? And it's not one of these fancy. I went to a private school that Nick's wife also went to, and they were good. Nick's wife they were really good at girls volleyball, and it's the only sport they're ever good at. Every year it's girls volleyball. That's it. All the other sports they're terrible at. And I think your wife played on the best team in school history, actually.
Anyway, close to it. Yeah, they've had recently they've had some really good ones, but I think probably up until that time, it was probably one of the better ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it was. Anyway, not to relive high school glory days, but I'm just saying it because I didn't realize what you were saying. I said, fine, I'll go. So I went to track to run the 2 mile because I did long distance. And I was okay, but I was not good. Yeah. You're faster than me in your 40s. And
39.
But, I knew that I could run a 6-minute mile, right? So in a track meet, I could do whatever, maybe 13 minutes 2 mile. I was not setting any records.
Right.
And the one kid I ran against, we played soccer together, and he was like a freshman. He beat his personal record by like 2 minutes to beat me because he was like, I am not losing to someone who's never competed. And then they said, Stu, if you do one more event, we can get into sectionals. I was like, okay, fine. It was the 800. I've never ran the 800. I didn't understand that people basically sprint for 2 laps.
Yeah.
And I was just did the 2 mile. There was some other event, I don't know, and then it was the 800 right after. So they were like, okay, well, it's like right now, like grab some water and get down there. You're starting. And I was like, what? Oh my goodness. I think I was 5 laps in and was like almost walking. I was toast. I got dead last. It was embarrassing. I was, and I didn't realize that you were at that meet for like 9 hours.
Ever. Yeah.
I was like, the longest event in the whole thing is 10 minutes.
Yeah.
What are we doing here for so long?
Yeah.
I couldn't believe it.
I will say that there have been some fun moments just seeing how fast some of those kids are, and like when there have been some like crazy comebacks, especially in relays and different things where, you think your team's out of it and then they come back, and so it can be kind of exciting, and it is fun, because we got to know like a lot of Zoe's friends and stuff. So like they're also running these other events and you're cheering for them, and our kids Eli goes, he's in high school now, but Zoe's running with the small Christian school, and so it's, we were competing. We were at a meet the other Saturday. There were 20 teams, a bunch from Chicago, from East St. Louis, and so it's like, okay, we're going to get smoked. And, they actually pulled out a couple of wins in some of their heats. I don't think they won overall, but, I mean, it was exciting, some of those races, watching them do stuff. So it's just long. It's not necessarily boring. It's just those are long days, and your kid's running 10 seconds at a time every hour or something.
Yeah, right, exactly. It's hard to, and it's weird because it's like there's not really an exact set time. Where with other things, maybe they could start or run long sometimes. But if you're playing a normal like team sport that has a clock, basketball, hockey, volleyball. Well, volleyball's a little different because of the sets. But like when you go to a basketball game, it's like when they're kids, I don't know how long the quarters are real short, 5 minutes or something. It's like you're going, the game's at 5, the game's over at 6.
Yeah.
Nobody even showers or anything. They're just, saying hi to their buddies, grabbing some popcorn, and I'm out of here. Like, I know when it starts and ends. And track's kind of like, no. we got a rain delay, or we got a maybe delay, right? They do those sometimes where they're like, we're just gonna see if it rains. Because if it thunders, we got to go, right? So it's like a whole, or whatever. I don't know, something with the lightning, right? They got to leave if you see lightning or something, but. Which is good. I'm just saying it is time consuming. Yes. I never knew until I was a senior in high school and did one event and was like, this is horrible. What is happening? Okay, so.
All right, let's get into it.
I don't think you properly shamed me, though. I made fun of you and I playing each other. I did go to the championship in fantasy and totally crapped the bed. Totally blowout diaper, baby. I'm talking sticky stanky down the leg, pooped the bed, and lost. So I got second place. Nick got third place.
You got third.
I got 11th.
Eli got 11th.
I didn't get last. And
last.
I traded away my whole entire team, so.
Who got last?
Don't tase me, bro.
Oh, don't tase me, bro.
Yeah.
Jarrett.
And he finished seventh.
He fell off there at the end. I need to reach out to him. I haven't talked to him in a while. And here's the problem. I feel like some of those guys that don't, because he doesn't live around here, if you're like by yourself in this league, I feel like that's kind of what happens to Miles. And God love him, and he's a founding member. But it's like, dude, if you are not going to pay attention,
you gotta do your ads, your drops. You gotta set your lineup.
But part of that is, I think, if you're not around anybody else that's in the league, it's not as fun. I got Eli. I got guys at work. You and Leah are in the league, so you're bouncing stuff off of each other.
Exactly. And I know that, especially modern times, it's so easy to be on group checks or whatever, but that's still different than like you live with someone in the league.
Yeah.
You work with someone in the league, multiple. Yeah. Like, and then it's like, okay, my wife's in the league. Like, we have someone that you can razz about it.
Especially the week that you're playing that person. So, like, a week that Eli and I are playing each other in the house, or when you and Leah are playing each other, if you're somewhere living by yourself and you're not around physically any of these other people, it's hard.
And how about, do you guys do this where you also kind of go radio silence a little bit? Because I know if I'm checking my lineup, I have to set an alarm on my phone. I'm so scatterbrained that it'll be 9:30 at night, and I'll be like, "Oh, who did I crap?" So I got an alarm going, so I'm checking it. I actually made it earlier this year, probably why I did better than normal. So it's like 5 p.m. I'm looking, we're getting dinner ready, and I'm like, "Oh, hey babe, check your fantasy. You got your people." When we're playing each other, it's like, and you don't want, especially when you're married, it's a little weird. I don't want it to be like, well, I won because you didn't check your lineup, but I didn't remind you to check your lineup. But we're playing each other, so it's like, but then you can talk crap too, right? Like Leah definitely talks more crap when she plays you. She's always like on her phone, like, "Oh, I'm beating both of you."
Yeah.
And Miles too. Miles is not on this podcast. We promised that Miles is a real person, by the way.
Maybe. I haven't seen him.
No proof yet on the podcast. We'll get him. But he's going to be here in Florida soon. I should just record a selfie and put him on here.
Yes.
That's another. Actually,
it was a fun season. I do feel like everyone, for a large portion of it, was paying attention. Jarrett did kind of tail off there towards the end. Same with Miles and whatever. But I mean, we had 12 teams, so for 9 or 10 of them to like pay attention the whole time, I feel like is pretty good.
Yeah. And we had people that were still trying when they lost, which was fun. Which I think we've talked about on the podcast. When you get knocked out of the playoffs, no, not when you get knocked out. If you don't make the playoffs,
the loser bracket
we play for, and that's where I was chirping you a little bit, Eli, the other day with your dad, was that since you traded away for your draft picks, in theory, next year you should have the totally awesome stacked team.
Yeah.
But I was like, you got to get first place in the loser bracket too. Then you're going to have your choice of pick with like 4 picks in round 1.
Yeah, and there's Connor McDavid out this year.
So. That's what I'm saying.
I know.
That's because we've talked about till we're blue in the face that picking number 1 overall isn't necessarily the best thing. But if you have 2 or 3 or 4 or whatever first rounders, then I probably do want to go first because I want Connor McDavid, and then I'll let the other 2 or 3 land wherever they land.
Yeah. It is kind of weird because, I mean, I made that kind of a thing just to keep people's interest that were in the consolation bracket, but it might be a little overrated as to where you're drafting because teams have won any number of places that they've drafted, and some of it's luck. Okay, great, you get McDavid, but then if he goes out in week 2 and like breaks his leg, well, then who's your next best player? Like, you still have to build your team, and I feel like maybe it's only good the first round. I don't know. I'd have to kind of think about it a little more.
We talk about it, and well, maybe what if we switch it totally, where we say, okay, you lost the playoffs, you still want something to play for? I don't care, you suck, and say whoever gets bronze medal. You're playing third place. You're playing for the right to pick.
That could
because 2 years in a row now, I'll call it the Cordell curse. Eli was the best team last year, gets knocked out by Nick. Nick goes on
best
to the
regular season team last year.
Yeah, well, I was still the best team. Okay, I was quite dominant.
Right? So Eli's this close to winning it all. You lose in the semifinal, and then in the championship, you had the most points of everyone, right, Eli? But you're playing for third place.
Yeah.
This year, I'm in the championship. I'm like terrible. And Nick is playing for third place, and Nick had the most points of anyone in the league.
Yeah. Well.
So then should the third place winner, because you end your season on a W. Most people end their season on an L. It's like the Olympics, right? You won. True.
No one
get bronze medal.
Yeah, no silver one wins silver.
Win. They lost. They're sitting there with an L. Here's your consolation prize. The bronze medal still had to go out and win, and fourth place is on the plane going back home. Bronze medal goes on the podium.
And I was thinking that, like, no one ever wins silver.
No one's ever won silver in a team. I guess you win silver in individual events, but in hockey,
sometimes it is. Hey, this is the gold medal wrestling match. Loser gets silver.
Yes, right. That's true.
Okay, well, I was thinking lost and got silver.
Archery or something like that. But yeah, same thing, right? Track.
Archery.
Yeah. Fastest guy, you lost. But stuff like that, like.
So yeah, I guess it depends.
I guess you still lose, but it's kind of like when it's shot put and stuff like that. It's a little different. It's kind of like I threw this far. Yes. You were the second.
I guess I was thinking more like wrestling. I guess was what.
When you go, anytime you go head to head, whether it's basketball
head-to-head stuff, you never win silver. You always lose silver, and you win bronze, which I think is.
And you win bronze, and it is especially. You know what? Maybe we should do that. We'll talk off the pod, but next year's the Olympics. Just embrace it.
Perfect. I like it.
Okay, so
all right. So.
The news in the hockey world, we're late on the Ovechkin breaks the record. That's incredible. We love Ovechkin. So I figured for our playoff predictions, because it is the 17th of April, I'm pretty sure yesterday, the 16th, Wednesday, the teams weren't locked in until yesterday, right?
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So it's like we kind of held off our podcast for a little bit because it was like, well, everyone's been talking about the wild card race for 3 weeks. Let's wait till they're locked. So I figured probably just dive in, start with the Atlantic, and
let's do it.
Okay, then I'm going to go with the number one seed in the Atlantic is the Maple Leafs against the Senators, the inter-provincial Ontario rivalry. Who we got? Who's going first? Eli, are you picking? Who's going first?
I'll go first.
This is my pick right here, just so you know.
All right.
Go.
Toronto, not very good in the playoffs lately. Not,
your whole life.
Never perform to expectations.
Yep.
But I still think they're better than the Senators. So I'm going to pick them first round. It might take them 6, maybe even 7 games. But I'm definitely picking them to win.
Okay. All right.
I like the pick. Don't put your address out here because those Ottawans.
Yeah.
You had a little attitude when you said they're still better than Ottawa. So you watch it. They're going to come find you.
For now, Ottawa's trending upwards.
Yeah, true.
I'm going Ottawa. Brady Tkachuk, first time in the playoffs, coming off a hot 4 Nations a couple months ago. He's loving it. He's going to be out there playing out of his mind. They're going to be more physical. Toronto's the finesse team. I don't care what you say. I don't care who they have. They can't figure it out. They've been slacking lately, which is why you lost your fantasy championship, is because they couldn't put together anything. And, so true. I'm going to go with Ottawa. I like Allmark in the playoffs, dude. They got some underrated players, solid, nice little core. But Brady Tkachuk, I think, is just going to be out there. Now, here's the one caveat. I guess, if he gets a little crazy and gets suspended or something, that could throw a wrench in the whole thing. But I think he's just going to go out there and just, did anyone pick him? They're kind of playing with house money. No one thought they would get this far. I like Ottawa. I know that on paper Toronto's the better team, but you got to go out there and play the game. So I'm going to go Ottawa upset round 1.
Do you have a games or no?
Ooh, 6 games.
I won 6. Okay,
yep.
So I'm going Big O too.
Nice.
I'm going Big O too, Eli. Now, I agree with Eli's breakdown that when you look on it on paper and even the eye test a little bit, I feel the Toronto Maple Leafs are a better team this year than they have been recently. I feel like they're built better for the playoffs, that they're an overall top to bottom better team than they were in the most recent seasons with this core. But, like you said, with my fantasy, Marner's having a career year. He's doing amazing. But at the end of the year, all their big guns are kind of sliding a little. I don't know if it's just like, hey, we're good. We're focusing on the playoffs. The Atlantic, it was so important to win the division. And they did it. They won the division. But like, you're kind of sliding in reverse to the playoffs. And Ottawa has their foot on the gas.
Yeah.
And Ottawa's kind of like, they were supposed to do this 2 years ago, right? And then it all fell apart. And then it comes back and they get Allmark, and then Allmark's hurt, and then the team's kind of in shambles, and it's like, I don't know what's happening. They trend upwards at the deadline. They go out and they make moves. Allmark's healthy, and I mean, you do not want to play Ottawa right now. Ottawa is nasty. They're mean. They're aggressive, and I think that the Leafs are soft, and they're going to fall off the tree because I think that there's a little more grit than there's been before, but look at line one is like Nyes and Marner. They're soft. Matthews is soft. I know he's a big, strong player, and he's very good defensively also, but he's soft. Nylander, Tavares, it's soft. Max Domi, okay, he plays gritty. He's also as big as Eli. What are you going to do when Brady Tkachuk comes in? It's like the two of you in a boxing match. What's going to happen? It's not going to be good. So I'm looking at it and just going, everyone is going crazy that they got Wool or whoever starts, I guess, because I think he's still hurt. Is he hurt? Stolarz, a lot of people like Stolarz, but it's like, to me, I'm old school. If you've got two goalies, you don't have any goalies.
Yeah.
Not in the playoffs. I know that the two goalie system works nowadays. It's different, but Vasilevsky starts to win the cup. Bobrovsky starts to win the cup. You know, all these teams, even when Colorado won, and it was, what's his name?
Kemper.
Grubauer, right? Was it?
Darcy Kemper.
Kemper won it? Yeah, and he's playing great, by the way, right now in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
And it's Aiden Hill, right? When they win, they stick to one goalie. Once it starts, it's one guy. And I don't know, Stolarz or Wool, I don't trust either one of them. I think that Ullmark is a big X factor. I think Ullmark is trying to prove that it's not Swayman, it's him, that Boston made a mistake. And everything is rolling for Ottawa right now. And I just think that even Giroux isn't a big guy, but, I mean, he's been a nasty, tough player his whole career. Brady Tkachuk, we go down, David Perron. Remember when his brain got scrambled? When somebody hurt Dylan Larkin and he went and cross-checked him right in the mouth? I mean, these guys are psychopaths.
Yeah.
I mean, Dylan Cousins, Nick Cousins will be suspended for the whole playoffs if he thinks he can win a cup. I mean, these guys are out of control. So I do think that they're going to go just beat them up. And
How many games?
I'm going to go 6. I think they beat them kind of easily.
Okay, nice. All right.
So I rambled for a pretty long time there, but this is – I don't even know if I necessarily consider it an upset, even though I do think that Maple Leafs are a better team. It's a bad matchup.
Yeah, for sure.
And I just – it sucks to be a Toronto fan, but I think against the Lightning, the Panthers, and Ottawa, those are the 3 teams that they have the most trouble with. And they have to play one of them, right?
Yeah.
You know, if they were against a different team like New Jersey, I've got Leafs all day long, but they got to play Ottawa, and I don't think they can do it.
All right.
Next up, same order. Are we going back to Eli for the Battle of Florida?
This one, 7 games, either way. Okay. I think it's going to be really close. But I'm going to go with the Panthers, reigning champs. The Lightning lost Stamkos, who hasn't been that good this season with the Predators, but I mean, still a little worse. I like that the Panthers got Brad Marchand on, during the trade deadline. I just think they're such a good team. I think they can get it.
Okay, all right. Quick question: is Matthew Tkachuk healthy?
Right now,
has he been playing?
Out. But
probably come back for the playoffs, though, I would imagine.
I would imagine that he's on LTIR so they could get Marchand at $6 million.
I'll be honest, I'm doing this by the seat of my pants on the fly here a little bit, and I haven't really been catching up. Man, that is a good matchup, and this is what the NHL loves with this current format, which I am kind of starting to hate. But you do get these good matchups like this, and I understand it, but it's just like, okay. So I'm going to say, man, I do think the Lightning are going to be a tough out. I do think this series goes 7 games. Oh, man. Probably overall team though, and some depth and stuff. I'll go Florida Panthers over the Lightning, but 7. Wouldn't be shocked if it went the other way, but I'll go Panthers and 7.
Okay. I like the breakdowns. What's that?
I checked. Matthew Tkachuk is expected to come back for the first game of the series.
Okay.
He's currently LTIR, but his return date is the first game.
And I think Brad Marchand's going to offer a lot. That team, a lot of those guys just won the Cup last year, but Marchand provides some leadership and a Stanley Cup champion too. Adding a guy like that, I know he doesn't put up the points that he used to, but he's still dangerous, still that agitator. He can be a difference maker.
So I'm going to slightly cheat, but I basically agree with you guys. I think there's 7 games, and it's basically a coin toss because I was fortunate enough to go to the Red Wings game last week. Wings win in overtime against the Lightning in Tampa. I live in Tampa. And I saw Wednesday the Maple Leafs beat the Lightning in the shootout. And both games, the Lightning look really good at times, but like the Maple Leafs kind of dominated them start to finish. The Lightning didn't look very good, but with that caveat, they let in 2 goals on like 2 shots before I was even to my chair. So the Lightning were down 2-0 to the Atlantic Division champions, and in my opinion, didn't play that good and still forced it to a shootout. So that is part of the reason I'm like leaning Ottawa was just I saw the Leafs play live and I just said, man, they're having a hard time closing out stuff. And the Lightning against the Red Wings came from behind and beat them. And that line 1 of the Lightning is so good. And Vasilevsky is so good at little stuff, the way he plays the puck, the way he can just kind of get through a screen and fight it off, that I have a little caveat. Because I want to say, and I'm going to say, the Lightning in 7.
Okay.
But that is because when I look at the Panthers, I don't know what's happening with these injuries. Are people actually hurt, or are they like pretending they're hurt and resting them because they went to the finals 2 years in a row and they need a breather? Because when the Lightning went to the finals 3 years in a row, they just ran out of gas. I think that's the year the Maple Leafs finally won round 1. Was against the out-of-gas Lightning, went to the finals 3 years in a row. So are the Panthers looking across the state going, okay, look who's currently out right now. Matthews, Ekblad, Reinhart, Lundell, Barkov. Their whole first line has been resting for a week. That's ridiculous. So if those guys aren't really hurt, they're just kind of faking it with a Band-Aid, then I think that if they come back and they're at 100%, that caveat is Panthers in 7. But if they're actually dinged up and they're trying to play through injuries, I think Lightning can edge them out because Lightning are almost the same team that won the Cup recently. And I saw Bjorkstrand play and Nick Paul play and some of these guys that are lower in the lineup. Who else did they just trade for? Yanni Gord came back. Man, they all looked good. They looked good. And I'm like, they're going to Barkov and Kucherov cancel out. You need that depth, and both teams have great depth. So I'll go Lightning in 7, coin flip.
All right, I like it. What's next?
I'm just going down the line here. The winner of the Eastern Conference, going from the almost out of the playoffs Red Wings tiebreaker BS team to the Alexander Ovechkin record-breaking, almost won the President's Trophy Washington Capitals, first place, playing the nobody called it. You're full of it. If you say you called it, Montreal Canadiens.
Yeah.
Who we got? Who's starting this one?
Caps in 5.
Caps in 5.
Is it how? Okay, I'll say these things just because I'm going gut reaction, but then I have to ask questions. Is Logan Thompson going to be back for the playoffs?
I'll check.
From what I've heard, check right now. From what I've heard is he will be back for playoffs.
All right,
but
I don't know about Protoss. I think he was actually hurt. I don't know about Protoss. I think last year, for as bad as the Capitals looked, they do have a lot of that same team, and you just get on a thing and you're riding high all season, the Ovechkin chase and all that stuff, and so everything is just kind of clicking. And I think the Capitals had like 4 or 5 guys on their team this year that hit the 25 or 30 goal mark. So I like their depth, especially on on D. Chikrin, I think, had 20 plus goals or something this year. John Carlson's always a threat. Ovi's playing some of I won't say some of the best hockey of his career, because some of the best hockey of his career, he puts up 65 goals a year. But to put up 40 plus goals at age 39 in this league, missing a month with a broken leg, dude, he's playing out of his mind right now.
Yeah. Logan Thompson supposed to come back.
Okay.
And everyone else currently injured.
And so I like their depth. I think, with Dylan Strome and Pierre-Luc Dubois and Protoss, those guys, Tom Wilson, of course, Ovi, Carlson. You have a lot of strong leadership, too, on that team. And I think they're just having fun. I personally like that they don't win the President's Trophy, or didn't win the President's Trophy, just because I don't know that I believe in that curse or not, but it seems like if you win the President's Trophy, you're destined to lose and not win the Cup. But so I just like the way the Caps have been playing. I know they haven't been playing great recently. Quick little bunny trail here. I was so close to picking the game that Ovechkin was going to break the record, 1 game off. And then I actually had tickets for a couple games later when they were in Columbus, because I was like, okay, maybe he waits until Columbus. We ended up not going. Thankfully, that's the game they lost 7-0, which they were coming down off that high where, so it's kind of this build-up, right? The whole season's been a build-up. He's getting close. He finally ties it. And then the next game, he breaks it. And then they still have the first home game after that, where there's all these celebrations and everything. And then the game after that, they lose 7-0. Yeah, dude, they've just been, everything's been building up to this thing. And now this next game is like, okay, now we're just playing hockey. We're not celebrating anything anymore. We're past the goal. And now we're just kind of exhaling. And I think it just kind of caught up to him, everything else. And it actually probably came at a pretty good time. Get that out of your system before the playoffs. And the Canadiens, like we said, no one expected them to be there, but they are. I hate trying to call sweeps in the league. It's still the NHL. A bounce this way or that way, who knows? So goalie plays off out of their minds 1 game or something, but so anything can happen. But I'll say Caps in 5.
What are you thinking, Eli?
I'm gonna agree, Caps in 5. I'll go with that.
Okay. I'm going to echo it, Caps in 5, but...
Speak it out there. Put it out there.
Bet the farm. Bet the farm, Game 3, which is the first game in Montreal.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
Montreal's winning that game.
That's the one. Right. I can see that. All right.
I don't know if they win 10-0 or it's triple overtime, but they're winning that game.
Caps in 5. The game they lose is the first game in Montreal.
Yeah,
I love it.
And I do think it'll be a close series, but I just think that...
I don't think the Caps are blowing them out in these games.
Yeah, which, funny enough, the Caps versus the Rangers last year, I think everyone said, you're going to get embarrassed. And then they did. They got stopped, and it was not close, right? They got massacred. I think this is going to be a series where people that hate on Montreal and say they shouldn't be there, they're going to prove that they deserve to be there. It's just going to be too much. I think that
There'll
Montreal
probably be a couple of overtime games, maybe.
Yeah, I could
One
see
goal
that.
games. I think,
All
yeah.
this buzz around Demidov, right? Did you see any of this? He shows up and he gets an assist right away, and then his first shot on goal in the NHL is a goal. And people said he really is the real deal. He's as good as Michkov. Like these guys are maybe going to be the Malkin Ovechkin of this generation, and he is the real deal. He's that good. But I do think that the Cinderella story is just going to come to an end because of what you said. I agree. They break the record. It's all about Ovechkin, and the team was winning, right? It's not like they were just terrible feeding him the puck. They were winning. Everything's going in the net, not just for him, but for all these other guys. Dylan Strome's got 1 million assists. Connor McMichael. Who's Connor McMichael? He's got whatever he had, 30 goals or something. Tom Wilson, a machine. He gets the assist on the record-breaking goal, right? Didn't he pass it over? So it's like everything is just this magical season for the Capitals. It's kind of a magical season for the Canadiens. I just think it's going to be where people like Nick Suzuki and Caulfield, they can step up and they can prove to the world how good they are. It's new to them still. It's still the pressure of the Stanley Cup playoffs. When they're in double overtime in Washington, Ovechkin has been there against Crosby.
Yeah.
Not exaggerating, 10 times? I mean, you're talking 20 years of getting this close and finally winning once. That experience is going to come in. Even Logan Thompson, though he was on the bench, he won a cup in Vegas. They've been through this. And I know that Oshie can't play and Backstrom can't play, and I don't know how long Carlson's going to be out. But it's like they got a lot of people that have serious experience. Even people like Eller, right, came back, Lars Eller.
Oh, yeah.
They don't contribute that much offensively anymore, but they've been there, done that. And I do think the experience is going to push them past Montreal with relative ease, just 5 games that are close games.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. But I basically think that the experience will be the edge.
Yeah. We're past a couple of rounds here, but I'll give a bold prediction in this series. Cole Caulfield, hat trick, game 3.
Okay. I like that.
Because I do like Cole Caulfield, and I think he's had a good year. And, they got some young players, a good young core. But it's not enough. But, you're going to be feeding off the crowd, riding that adrenaline in that first game in Montreal. Caulfield's a stud, and so I'll go bold prediction. Caulfield hat trick, game 3. That's the one they win.
Prediction. And I have heard that in their own locker room, they'll talk about how good Lane Hudson is, and they'll say I don't think you understand how good Gooley is.
Yeah,
Gooley is almost as good, and so I am very excited that Montreal, I think, will not only be good and they'll give the Capitals a scare. But I think that for the next 5 years, they're going to be a legit good team, and hopefully for 10 years. And I like that, actually.
Yeah. I will say one other thing. Normally I probably wouldn't hate on Montreal as much, but I was so, despite being a Wings fan, I was so pulling for Columbus to make the playoffs. Once the Wings were eliminated, just the whole, this is a shame on me. Whoever the coach is should win the Jack Adams Award for Columbus.
Yes.
You're right there. It came down to the last day of the season, essentially. And you had your team almost in the playoffs after everything that you've gone through. Werenski had a career year this year. They've just been playing great.
Should probably win the Norris. He probably should win the Norris. I think that
at least be a finalist for it.
I kind of feel like Makar will probably still win, but I think Werenski legitimately could win it.
Yeah.
And he should be in the conversation.
I think that would have been a great story if Columbus would have made the playoffs. So I was kind of rooting for them. So I guess that's kind of why I'm a little more down on Montreal this year too.
Right.
It was it came down to those 2 teams, and I wanted the other one. Obviously I wanted the Wings in it, but
obviously our Wings kind of made their own bed, right? And you can get mad about how they played, or you can get mad about Yzerman, or whatever you want to pinpoint it on. The team, like we talked about the one time, in my opinion, Copp is a good player, right? He should probably be your third line center on a good team. If Copp getting injured means you can't make the playoffs, you're not a playoff team. That's not. Come on. Brad Marchand's almost 40. He's still better. Like, that's, you know what I mean? Like, Copp's a good player, but if that is the hinge of the wrecking ball, then it's like, come on. So, anyways, I agree with you there, and I do wish that the Jackets would have made it just because of the story. I mean, that's a team that was.
They just seem like they've come together and are playing like a team, and to just comment. I mean, I don't think they win the cup, but I mean, can you just imagine if they would have? If you're that good of a team, something happens like it was just the story surrounding it would have been
just amazing. Just amazing. And I mean, that's a team that after all the tragedy happened to Johnny Gaudreau, they had to add players to their team to meet the salary cap minimum.
Yeah.
They were below the floor. I think every single person in the hockey world had the Metro Division with the Blue Jackets at the bottom, and they had the Atlantic with the Canadiens at the bottom.
Yeah.
So the fact that those are the two fighting for it in the last week is
awesome. Pretty crazy. Yeah.
And I do wish for the story and for Johnny that they would have done it, but of course it's super cool for Montreal as well. We all know the bubble where they went to the finals was sort of a strange year, and I felt for Carey Price. I always thought he deserved better, but it is cool to see them in. I think it's good for hockey to have those French nutcases in the finals or, in the playoffs, and their bright future, young, bright future. I see it, but I just don't think that they'll be able to overcome. I've been a doubter of the Caps. All season I've been saying, man, they're good, but smoke and mirrors. Oh, they're decent, but not against the good teams. Yeah. I think they've proven they're good, and the experience is going to push them over the edge. So I think we all in agreement there.
Last Eastern Conference matchup.
Yep. The last one is the one that I personally don't plan on watching one single minute of one single game. This is the most boring mid-off lineup. Ugh. I mean, screw the Devils, man. Let's put the Blue Jackets in the Montreal All. Let's send 6 from the Atlantic.
Yes.
They are falling backwards out of the chair into the playoffs. They're terrible. Okay, so which bold predictions, by the way? Sure. I had the Devils winning the President's Trophy.
You did, yes.
On 2 things, I thought if Jack Hughes could get over 100, 110, maybe even 120, he's that good. And Markstrom, I bet money on it. You can look it up. June 24th. Well, you can't look it up, but I can show you. I bet the Devils win the President's Trophy and Markstrom wins the Vezina.
Okay.
Good.
Well, oof.
But I also bet because I bet on. I can't believe I didn't
bet that, but he sure said that pretty confidently.
Said it.
I said it, and they're not. They're terrible. And anyways. I'm off topic. Let's give our predictions. I guess since I'm talking, I should do it. But I do want to say real quick, I'll read them off sometime. Maybe not this pod because I was going to. Because I don't bet a lot of money, right? For anyone, my wife listening. Sometimes I'll load in the money, and then I do like $1 on all sorts of stuff, right?
All
like
$1 bets, Leah. They're just $1 bets.
Just 20,000 of no. No, there's not. But I did put, I'm about to collect, I guess the season has to officially end, Washington Capitals win the Eastern Conference.
Oh, nice.
So, which is funny because I didn't, in our preseason predictions, I had them low. And then I look, we recorded that in October, but in June I said they're going to win. So I don't know. I don't know what I was doing. Maybe I just like the odds. Hurricanes versus Devils. I joke, but only a little bit. I mean, this is one that I'm not penciling on my calendar.
Yeah.
I have to take a day off hockey because my wife's going, you've had on every single game all night, keeping me up, talking about hockey. I turned this one off to watch a family movie. Yeah. Okay. I don't think it'll be close. I think both teams are a disappointment. I think that Hurricanes debacle over all the Rantanen trades hurt them.
Yeah.
I don't know if Freddie Anderson's healthy. I've been saying that for 15 years. I don't know if he can play or not. And I think their team's worse than they have been over the past 5 years. I think they have absolutely no problem with the Devils, with an up and down Markstrom and no Jack Hughes. Yeah, Dougie Hamilton's back. It's not enough. I think they walked through them pretty easily. Canes in 5. Canes in 6, maybe. 5 or 6.
I'm going to go Canes in 6. I think the Canes are a better playoff team than the Devils. But yeah, losing Martin Necas to get a guy that you immediately trade away, it just hurts your team a lot.
Yeah. And we talked about that a little bit. I feel like they didn't do enough homework. Like, they probably thought for sure Rantanen's going to sign here. And then, to be fair, they offered him like $100 million, right? Wasn't it like 95?
Something crazy.
If someone offers me $100 million, there's a really short list of reasons I say no. Really short list. You know what? And then apparently it comes out in the press, right, that he said, I will go to one of 3 teams and you ain't one of them. Oh, well, what are you going to do, right? So then I felt like they pivoted pretty well with their return on that point. But if they had a time machine, I think they keep Necas. You know what I mean? Like, they're coming into this playoffs worse than they were in Christmas.
Yeah.
So,
which also would change a lot of things if they don't make that trade. Then the Avs still have Rantanen,
which I feel like the Avs are better.
We'll get to them. So I'm going Hurricanes in 5. I don't really love either one of these teams. Like you said, it's kind of a boring matchup. I've always thought the Devils' logo is just kind of a boring little whatever thing, so that doesn't help the cause either. But without Jack Hughes... I didn't even
pull up their team rosters on Daily Faceoff because I'm like, I'm not interested.
I don't care. I mean, if Jack Hughes is healthy, I probably pick the Devils, but he's not. Yeah. I don't even really. I'm with you. I can skip this game, this series. Who cares? Yeah. But yeah, I'll go Hurricanes in 5.
I like it. We're all pretty much in agreement on both of those matchups. But I'll tell you what, Capitals versus Canadiens, I want to tune into every game. If the Capitals sweep the Canadiens, I'm watching every game. If the Canadiens somehow pull an upset and it's 6 or 7 Canadiens, every game. That is going to be so exciting.
All the other series that we've talked about so far, I'm in on those.
And you know what? To be honest, I think maybe all the other seasons in the NHL series in the NHL are going to be good. And this one, I mean, they're both talented. I just am not interested. I don't care. Let's move over to the West.
All the other ones, I'm just going through my head. All the other ones, yes, I'm tuning in for. This one, I don't care.
Let's go over, I think, the same thing. So there's the problem right now in the NHL where the middle of the country is really good, right? We both called it, Nick, that I think in the East Coast we called it. I don't know about the West Coast. We had the wrong teams, but we said 5 from the Atlantic, 3 from the Metro. That's what happened. 5 from the Central, and 3 from the Pacific. We did, but both you and I both said the Predators, which a lot of people said going into the season.
You can look it up if you want to as well. I've tried to forget it, but I put money on the Predators to win the Stanley Cup back in the summer.
You know what? Last year I did it for the Sharks. I did it for the Sharks last year.
But okay, so should we real quick, now that we went through all the East teams?
Yes.
Are we going to pick who we think makes it to the finals?
Oh,
in the East, and then we can do the West, pick our West team, and then give our champion. Or how do we want to do it?
I'm good.
Yeah, we can do that.
We've done the East. Okay. Who wants you?
I'll go.
Eli, you probably did your bracket.
All right, so my pick is gonna be the Panthers to return to the finals because I don't think that there are many other teams as playoff ready and built as them. If there's another team, I might go with the Lightning. So they could, if they upset the Panthers, they might be one of my favorites to make it to the final. But I think the Panthers are going this year.
Okay.
I think they're making a return.
Okay, I don't have the bracket in front of me. If if our teams win that we picked, Capitals, Panthers, No, so who plays in the second round then? Capitals?
So they stay in their division. So the Capitals would play the Hurricanes based on your decisions.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
And then
the Senators would play the Panthers.
All right.
Which is the Kachuk brothers, which is what the universe needs. That's why we need Ottawa to win.
I'm just looking at this now, too, and I
great.
know we're not going over that deep into the playoffs, but I'll just real quick here say, okay, I'm going to stick with the Senators winning and the Panthers winning. I would love to see the Kachuk brothers in the playoffs. I would pick the Panthers to win that series. Maybe this is just what I want. I'm going to pick the Panthers to win that series against the Senators, Capitals to beat the Hurricanes, Caps, Panthers in the East Finals. Yep. I'd love a Tom Wilson, Matty Tkachuk, Brad Marchand Eastern Conference Finals.
That'd be great.
That would be awesome. And man, just because I pick with my heart sometimes, I'll go Capitals. Wow. We're gonna go with this magical season continues. They're gonna beat the Panthers. Caps in the Stanley Cup Finals this year.
No.
I'm gonna agree.
Wow.
Because
now I want Montreal
to win first.
Oh my goodness.
Here's what I think is the threat to the Capitals. The biggest threats by far are the Panthers, the Lightning, the Maple Leafs.
Yeah.
You can only play one of them, no matter what happens.
Yep.
So for me, it's really about the path. If I'm the Capitals, I'm the second best team in the NHL, and I have to beat the Miracle Canadiens, the BS Devils, or the lukewarm Carolina Hurricanes, and then I don't care who advances to the East Coast Finals out of the Atlantic, they're going to be the most tired team in the East Coast.
They're going to have gone through the gauntlet already.
And the gauntlet, the Lightning are kind of a Frankenstein team of their dynasty team that has played a lot of playoffs. The Panthers have gone to the finals 2 years in a row. And they currently have all 5 players on line 1 are injured. Are they really injured? I don't know. And then kind of medium good team Senators. So I think the Capitals just have the best route.
Yeah.
So I think that they're going to go.
I do think...
Or they're going to lose in round 1 to the Canadiens.
Or you get upset, yeah.
Yeah.
I do think Ekblad is suspended. I don't think
Did he get suspended?
I think he got suspended for like 20 games or something.
Oh, yeah.
So he's just resting up for the playoffs.
It is funny. He just says out on Daily Faceoff, but I forgot about that.
Yeah.
He got suspended. So that is...
This says he's coming back for the first game.
Yes, because I think
it was just...
I think the 20 games got him to the playoffs.
So when he comes back, he's good.
And the same thing. Fantasy app in there? What's that say?
I don't know.
Go to the fantasy. And
if he did get suspended, I don't know if it carries into the playoffs. I don't
think it does.
He got 20 games, right? Yeah.
Go to hockey.
For illegal substances or enhancement, right?
Players? Yeah,
Steroids.
I forget what it was, but I know that my boss had him. And like right before our playoffs is I think when he got...
It was performance-enhancing drugs he got hit on, right? So he was out for the year, basically resting for the playoffs.
Game 3.
So Ekblad won't be eligible to play until Game 3 of the first round of the playoffs.
You know what? Home ice also is pretty big, I feel like, and that's the Lightning. So the Lightning are going to be up 2-0 coming into the Panthers.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see.
All right, I like it.
Okay, so Panthers I like because they're still the champ until someone knocks them off. Correct. And then the Capitals I like because they got the easiest path.
Yeah.
It's never easy, but this year is especially the Central and the Atlantic are stacked. So let's head over West Coast.
All right.
And I'm just going to start at the top. Jets win the President's Trophy. They're the best team in hockey right out of the gate. Game 1 to game 82, they're in first. They never lose it. They're in first the whole year, I think. Against the 2019 came out of nowhere, won 13 games in a row, St. Louis Blues, who we all have come to hate because of the geography as Red Wings fans living so close to St. Louis. Who is starting this one?
I'll start this one. So, okay, well, The Blues have been really hot lately, but they're about to cool off when they play Connor Hellebuck every single game of this series.
They're going to cool down. Blue in their blood, huh?
The Jets, I think 5 or 6 games. Their first 2 lines of offense are a very good defensive team, but that power play is just so good. They're such a stacked team. Connor Hellebuck, very good. They're not.
Yep. First in every goalie category all year.
Oh, yeah.
Nick?
All right. I hate saying this because it's going to drive me crazy and I'm going to hate it. And there's going to be so many bandwagon out from under the rock Blues fans around here. But for whatever reason, Connor Hellebuck doesn't seem to be a playoff goalie. Frickin' Jordan Bennington plays big in the biggest games and the biggest moments. And they got this stupid little whatever they got going on, little character thing that's been in all these games. They're on the hot streak. They've won whatever it was, 11, 12 in a row, and then 17 out of so many that I think the stinking Blues are going to upset the Jets, and I'm going to hate it.
I agree.
Oh, my goodness.
I hope I'm wrong, though. I really hope I'm wrong.
We need to just jinx them. We need to jinx them. They're on a hot streak. Here's what it is. This is a Bennington Hellebuck rematch of the Blues Canada. And Hellebuck played really well. You could take it 2 ways.
Yeah.
He got that playoff. You play bad in the playoffs. He got that monkey off his back. He went to the Four Nations and said, it wasn't my fault. He played great. Or you can look and say, Bennington, the nutcase, the straitjacket, the worst goalie in the league, can become Ken Dryden.
Yeah.
And in the Four Nations tournament, he's garbage. He's the worst goalie in the tournament. Then the final game cannot be stopped. Literally 2, 3, 4 robbed Matthews, right?
Yeah.
I mean, just the game is over. USA wins. Nope. He just becomes this creature, and everyone in the Blues locker room says, well, we're not going to lose. We have Bennington. And every single game they go in and they say, well, you can't score on our goalie. How are we going to lose a game?
Yeah.
And I think that not only is this going to be an upset, but they're going to smash them. I'm going Blues in 5.
I'll say Blues in 6. But yeah,
I wouldn't
be. And I wouldn't be that surprised if the Jets say, no, we're done with these allocations. I mean, they went to the Western Finals several times a few years ago, right, when they were good.
Yeah.
I think that they're getting smashed.
Yeah.
The Blues are going to take it to them. And I'm going to go ahead and say it does not matter who wins because nobody's winning the next round.
Yeah. I'll agree with you on that.
Yeah, okay, so let's dive right into it. This is, unfortunately, because I hate the Avalanche, this is, to me, probably the best matchup in the NHL, even though I'm very excited for some of those East Coast ones. Just pure talent, just the best. These
loaded rosters,
They're probably, I know they're not in first place. I know that the Jets and the Capitals, I know the Golden Knights. I think that the Stars and the Avalanche are the top 2 contenders for the Cup, and they got to play in round 1. And, I mean, those are the odds in Vegas, too. If you go to bet, they're 1 and 2, Dallas and Colorado. So, who wants to give their predictions of this one?
I will first, again.
Yes, I like it. Eli's hot right now, and I like it.
Yeah.
You know what? Let's speak into the universe that we all hope Avalanche lose every game. 0-82. 0-4. They never make the playoffs again. They sell the team to Kansas City. I hate the Avalanche. And I know that Cale Makar wasn't even born when the rivalry happened. I don't care. I hate the colors. I hate the A. I hate the little Avalanche. I hate the Pepsi Center. I don't like Pepsi. I don't want it ever. Go Wings. Okay, but the Avs are amazing. Next. Who you got?
Dallas Stars. 6 or 7 games. It's going to be a good series.
Yes.
But the Stars' depth is so good that I don't think the Avs can beat it.
They have a lot of depth. They're a very good team. Both are.
Yeah.
All right, I'll go.
How about this? Before you say it, though, both teams have sort of sucked the past week or two.
Yeah, both the Stars are on like a 7-game losing streak.
Right? Yeah, I don't know if they're just resting but both teams are kind of like going backwards into the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't love that. I think I'm going Stars, and I think the Stars win in. I'll go 6. It does concern me a little bit the way they've been playing, especially the way they lost that game in Vancouver. Well, I don't know if it was in Vancouver, but against Vancouver, when Vancouver scored 3 goals in the last minute and then won in overtime. They're having some trouble closing out some games. Kind of scares me, but I like Jake Ottinger better than the goalies that the Avs have. They're just playing good, I guess, this year. I don't know. They essentially, to me, in my mind, they have like 2 goalies that have been journeymen in the league. I don't know which one's going to step up or do whatever, but I think Jake Ottinger is the clear better goalie in that series. Rantanen playing for the Stars, not the Avs. But don't count the Avs out. I mean, you still got McKinnon and McCarr. I mean, if you got those guys on your team, you're always going to be in the game. I do think it's going to be tough, but I'll go Stars in 6. And here's what I think the little bit of a kicker might be is, and you were kind of alluding to this or said it in a group chat or something. Landeskog's going to come back, play for the Avs in the playoffs. They're going to get that boost, probably that home game, come out, play hard, win one at home for him or whatever. I don't know. But I think the Stars just are going to get it done. And maybe Ottinger has to steal a game. I don't know. I think he can steal a game for you. I don't know that those other goalies for the Avs can, but there's going to be a lot of scoring. I think they'll I like Jake Ottinger, but both teams just have so much talent that it's going to be a fun series to watch. But I'm going to go Dallas in 6.
Quick, before you go, Stu. Prediction. Mikko Rantanen, hat trick, and game-winning goal in the first game against the Avalanche.
I like it. Just kind of a little jab, a little show you.
A little.
Yeah. I also want to see him. I want to see him like deck Nathan McKinnon, which he probably won't. I would like to see it.
I think if those 2 got into it, I think McKinnon is. My money would be on McKinnon. He's just, I think, a little more physical. I think Rantanen's bigger than I think he is, but I also think he's maybe a little softer than McKinnon.
Nathan McKinnon is a psychopath, right? I mean,
and there's also that. Yes, I think McKinnon being that little psychopath, it's like
if he thought he's getting a goal. Yeah. But I do think the size discrepancy is big. I'm trying to look it up right now. I don't have his weight.
I'm looking at Mikko.
200 pounds, 6 foot. I want to say the Moose Rantanen is 6'4", 230.
Okay. What is he? You were looking it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Where are you at?
Oh, lost it.
But McKinnon's
only 6 foot.
6 foot, 200. And I think Cale Makar is 6 foot, 200. So they're both, I wouldn't fight them. But
yeah.
Mikko Rantanen is, and those Finns, they kind of, they're a little crazy. They kind of.
Yeah, but I think McKinnon's that psycho crazy. He
is, and a fist fight, you never know. But it'll be interesting to see.
Rantanen is 6'4", 216 pounds.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So he's got the reach if they were in a boxing match, but I mean.
So it'll be fun to watch.
I was at a game where Braden Point threw about 5 rights directly in what's his name's nose against the Leafs, which was by the way, the Leafs losing to Ottawa for sure is they're going to lose to the Panthers or the Leafs or the Lightning either way because I can't remember who it was now, but somebody cross-checked him and Braden Point grabbed him, dropped his gloves, and just boom, 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 fed him like 5 rights to the nose. I mean, just beat the crud out of him. I was like, was that Braden Point? Like, I was very surprised. And then against the Red Wings, Chernak clipped Raymond on the head just a little bit. It wasn't that dirty, but he got his head. And Larkin went after him. I don't think anyone else saw it. And I was like, Larkin's not afraid of anyone, but you do not want the smoke from Chernak.
Yeah.
Dude, Watson was going after him the whole game. They didn't put him on the ice with him. They wouldn't put him on the ice, which I wouldn't have either. But one time between whistles, Watson went over and grabbed him and was like, I will knock your head in next week. And it was cool to see, but the Lightning aren't pushovers either. I didn't mean to go back there, but we'll see. We'll see. All so right. Did you make your prediction with the 6 games Dallas you both had?
Yeah.
Was that it?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so forgive me. The Avs.
Oof.
You jinxed it.
Hopefully. Yeah, Avs. Ooh, sweep. Here's my thing, too, with Ottinger. Ottinger's always up there with the top 5 goalies in the league or whatever. I feel like it's a little bit smoke and mirrors. He's a good goalie. His team's very good. He's a very big person. But he also has a little, like, his numbers aren't always that awesome. And so I'm just looking at, as the season as a whole, he's got 2.59 goals against with a 909 save percentage. So he's pretty much a 91 save percentage. That's pretty dang good. But a 259, The Dallas Stars dominate games start to finish. They got a lot of depth. So when he has a good save percentage, but his goals against isn't that good, that to me says that he's making all the easy saves he's supposed to. You keep it to the outside, you keep wrist shots from the blue line, he's 6'7". They're not going in the net. But if there's a 2-on-1 or there's a breakaway or there's a power play, he's getting scored on. And so where that's kind of true with all goalies, in the playoffs, we've seen Ottinger do it before. You have to be able to steal a game or 2 or 3. And when the teams are this closely matched, I just feel like the Avalanche have a little bit of this magic season going, like we talked about with the Capitals. And they are the worst team in the NHL to start the league season. Then they come back and they're playing okay, but their goalies are horrible. They get both goalies replaced. Then at the deadline, they make so many ridiculous moves. Their centers down the middle are just ridiculous to go out and get Nelson, Brock.
Oh, Brock Nelson, yeah.
Nelson. And like, they just made all these moves where you think losing Rantanen, they're going to fall apart. They got terrible goals against, and they got terrible goalies, and they lose in Rantanen. The wheels are coming off, and they totally rebound. They totally come back. It's a master class of management. I hate to admit it, but like, they're great. Then you look at Ottinger down the stretch. The Dallas Stars lose, what was it, 3, 6, 7 games in a row, like Eli said. When Ottinger played, he let in 3 goals on 40 shots. That's pretty good. 4 goals on 30 shots. 5 goals on 30 shots, 5 goals on 17 shots to go into the playoffs, where game 3, Gabriel Landeskog is not only playing, he's starting.
Oh, yeah.
And he doesn't have to be 100% healthy. It doesn't matter. He's starting, and they're riding that wave. And I don't know if they're going to be good enough to ride this wave all the way to the cup or anything like that. But it's going to give them this momentum where I actually think that they're going to capitalize on the home games so much that they're going to win in 6 at home, because game 7's in Dallas. So I got Avs in 6 in the Pepsi Center. Okay. So that part, I don't know if you guys did the math, but Dallas winning in Colorado in game 6, I feel is a little crazy.
And not to jab at you here a little bit, Stu, but, I mean, Jake Ottinger is a fantasy hockey champion this year. So.
And Mackenzie Blackwood is a silver medal loser on my team.
It should be a great series either way. And as much as I hate the Avs, it is kind of a cool story when a guy like Landeskog, who's, hasn't played in 3 years?
Yeah, I may or may not have said on the podcast, wake up, there's no way he's ever coming back. We'll cut that out. Because now I'm totally the opposite. There's a 100% chance he's coming back.
For him to persevere like that and to just, I mean, it would be so easy to get discouraged and just give up, right? And just walk away and be like, all right, who cares? It's over.
Yeah. I want to cup. I made $1 bajillion. I'm done.
Yeah. is pretty incredible. So, I mean, I do think they're going to get a boost, probably a win or two off of that, or just he doesn't even have to play the whole game. He starts, like you said, if he plays 5 minutes total of the game. I mean, I think just him being back on the bench with the guys, everything. I do think that means more than what people realize, honestly. So I definitely think that gives the Avs a boost, but I'm hoping that the Stars pull it out. And
yeah, I mean, I hope I'm wrong. But to your point, I think it was the second cup of the back-to-back.
Yes,
Steven Stamkos
comes out, scores a goal, and then doesn't
one
play
shift, one shot, one goal, and they win.
Yeah,
that's everything. That's everything. Who cares? Obviously you want to play as much as you can, but when you're that hurt, Brett Hull has a torn ACL and comes out for overtime, and man in the crease wins the Stanley Cup. That's it. You just need that one.
So
it's unfortunate because I hate the Avs, but I do think that they've got the mojo, and Dallas has something wrong. I don't know if people are hurt or what, but I think Avs are going to edge it out. Let's move along. Hour 15, we're doing okay. We got Golden Knights versus the Wild next.
Ooh, okay. I kind of forgot about this matchup. You want to go?
I'll
you got
first again.
You got notes.
Yeah, Lee's done the most research.
Only on one team,
all right,
and we'll get there when we get there. But it's my championship team.
Okay.
But I'm gonna say Vegas. And as much as I like the Wild, and I didn't really expect them, they did pretty well. Kaprizov has had a really good year. But I just think that Vegas is going to be more physical. They're going to have more depth. And I just don't think it's going to be really that close.
Yeah.
Vegas in 5 or 6.
All right. Okay. As much as if I had to pick a team that I would want to win, I'm probably going Minnesota. That Minnesota trip, not to get too sidetracked here either. Sorry, but when the Wings were in the West, I had the Wings as my West team, favorite team, will always be number one in my heart. Caps were in the East, so it was an easy. I grew up going to those games. That's where I was from. Root for those teams. Now they're both in the East. Caps are still number one, but I still root for the Caps a little bit. But it's like, all right, who's my West team? I don't have a West team. And I'll be honest, it's kind of fun to root for Minnesota, right? I mean, it's American. It's
I was born there.
Stu's from there.
And just to clarify, Nick said that the Caps will always be number one, but sometimes I root for the Caps. I think
Did I say that? I mean, Wings
behind
are
you,
always number one.
You meant to say Wings.
Wings will always be number one. If I misspoke, I apologize. Wings will always be number one.
Look at all those pictures he's got. Okay, he's only got one Ovechkin. We'll give him the.
And that's Ovechkin. That's not just Cap. That's just Ovechkin.
Everything else is Red Wings.
Everything else is Wings. Yeah. So the Wings will always be my favorite team. The Capitals are a number 2. There's a gap.
Yeah,
and then the number 2 team.
But you need a West Coast team now.
But I don't have a Western Conference team to just root for. I'm not gonna start plastering their stuff up in my room. But just to have a team that's kind of fun to root for. And Minnesota might be that team.
Yeah.
I kind of like it. I like their Christmas colors. I like Christmas. I like all their arena was very cool. Just the whole hockey history. It seems like Mighty Ducks, everything with Minnesota, and the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame, and all the guys from Miracle on Ice team. Half of them were from Minnesota. That's where our hockey, the USA hockey is.
The U.S. Hall of Fame.
Yes, but just that's
the state of hockey, right? It's known for it,
right? Yes,
10,000 lakes.
They're selling out high school hockey games. Crazy stuff.
It's the Canada of the United States. It's
cold. Exactly.
It's hockey.
Perfect. That's a perfect way to put it.
Except less maple syrup.
Less maple syrup.
So all that to say, the Wild might be my West team. I'll say, and so it was fun to go to their game. I would, I'd probably be pulling for them in this series. However, I think Vegas, comes out on top. They're gonna and the Wild might steal a game or two. They got some pretty good secondary scoring. Um, you know, man, but I think Vegas is still pretty loaded. I mean, they got a lot of pieces left from. I mean, they just won a cup a couple years ago, so let's not forget that too.
Yep.
You still got Jack Eichel, Mark Stone, Petrangelo, Shea Theodore, Wild Bill Carlson, Aiden Hill's a solid goaltender. I mean, and they're that team that's kind of a playoff team. Feels like they might not win the President's Trophy in the regular season, but they don't care. They're going to put a guy on LTIR or rest some players till they get to the playoffs, and then that's when they're going to say, "All right, now we're playing. Now is when our season starts." And so I like Vegas to win this series, even though I'll be pulling for the Wild, and I'll say Vegas in 6.
Okay. I'm pretty much with you guys on this one. I think that currently, right now, or maybe last week is more accurate. Last week, the Wild were doing the same thing that a few of these teams are doing. The Dallas Stars, the Devils, even the Hurricanes a little bit, the Capitals a little bit. They're like sliding backwards into the playoffs. Well, Eriksson Ek and Kaprizov both came back and they went psycho. They got like 15 goals combined in 3 games or something insane. So those two are good enough, especially Kaprizov, to be difference makers. My main thing is that the Knights are loaded, so they can handle it. Kaprizov going against the Blues or the Devils or the Canadiens, Kaprizov can take over a series. He might not quite be the McDavid, McKinnon, Kucherov, but he is sneaky in that conversation. He's a regular 100-point person. He is that good. But it starts to get pretty thin after that. The Eriksson Ek's amazing. I think he proved in the Four Nations how good he was, and this season's been good. Zuccarello's been playing good. They got some depth scoring. They got Boldy, and they got what's his name on the back end. They're a good team. When Johansson's on, he's on, right? Or Gustafsson. When Gustafsson's on, he's on. But they're just too much. The Golden Knights are just too much. I think that the Wild can put out a line one that can compete with anyone, and their depth is pretty solid, but they just can't quite handle the Knights. Like you said, they just went to the finals, and they're just going to keep coming and coming and coming. When I pull them up, it's like all the names maybe aren't as sexy as they've been before, but with Eichel and Carlson and Nicholas Roy or Waugh, like that's who's currently playing. Who's injured is still Hannafin and Stone. I think they're going to play. Yeah. So it's like this team, Aiden Hill's been there, done that. He doesn't have to be the best goalie in the world. He has to stop the easy ones and make a ridiculous save once a game. There has to be a oops, 2-0 backdoor, the whole net's wide open, and Aiden Hill robs them. You steal that goal from Kaprizov one time, we'll get you back. And they're going to go score on a power play or whatever. And so I do think that this series will be fun to watch, and I'm going to root for the Wild. I hope the Wild win, but I don't think that they'll be able to get over it. I think that the Golden Knights will win in, I'll say 6. 5 even maybe.
Yeah.
5 they'll be home ice. They win in Vegas in 5.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, last one, I think, if I'm remembering correctly. This one's a hot topic. Home ice advantage is in Los Angeles. They've played each other 3 years in a row. This will be year number 4. Eli, I can feel you itching in your chair. Who do you have? Kings versus Oilers.
I've got the Oilers.
Tell me.
Okay, I don't like their goaltending. I really like Darcy Kemper. He's been playing out of his mind for LA. But I just don't want to count out Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl against LA. I just don't. And they keep playing each other, and Edmonton keeps winning. They made it to the finals last year. I like them to win this round.
Yep. How many games? They played 3 times, and they won. So, anything else you got? Yeah?
5 or 6 games. 5 or 6.
5 or 6?
Maybe
Okay.
probably 6.
Wow. All right.
I'll go 6 games.
Okay.
Nickstrom, you're up?
I disagree. I think the Kings are going to win. It's even happened in the playoffs in the last few years. I feel like the Oilers got upset by the Kings in one of those playoff matches a couple years ago or something. Yes, I know the Oilers made it to the finals last year. I didn't think the Kings were going to be this good this year. They're just overall more, I feel like a more complete team, got some depth. The Oilers have by far the best top talent, but I feel like they're front loaded. After that, after Draisaitl and McDavid, then who you got? And yes, I know that they took them to the finals last year, and very well could do that again. But I think if you can slow those guys down, Kings play team defense, you get a hot goalie, I think you can slow those guys down, and then there's no one else there to pick up the slack and to that secondary scoring for the Oilers. The Oilers go as McDavid and Draisaitl go, and I just think the Kings, with that familiarity of the Oilers, and even like I said, I think in the playoffs a couple years ago maybe they beat them, but I think the Kings are going to beat them. And I'll say, man, who's got home ice on that?
LA.
Kings? I'll go Kings in 7.
I think Connor McDavid's going to average 7 points a game once they're down 2 games. If they're down 2 games, he's going to go crazy. They're not going to lose.
I hope so. I like McDavid.
They were so close to reverse sweeping the Panthers.
True.
I think that they can.
And they had to rely on McDavid to do it.
Yeah. Yep. But he can.
So as the Oilers, as McDavid goes, so goes the Oilers.
Yes, that's true. So I'm gonna go. All hail the king.
It's every time.
I
pick the right team, and you guys.
And we go on some crazy.
You're picking the right team. We're gonna be wrong. You shouldn't be worried about
it.
I'm not worried.
We're going to have to do a podcast with Eli because we're picking the same thing all the time. It's not interesting. We need the sandpaper.
Yeah.
You need the smart one in here.
So speaking of sandpaper, the smart one.
Yeah.
Evan Bouchard doesn't play game number 82 of the season because he's suspended for cross-checking Quentin Byfield in the back of the head.
Ooh, all right. So
this week.
Bad blood. Got some bad blood going into the playoffs.
They've played each other 4 times in a row. The Little Brother Kings were up 3-2, I think, 2 years ago. And they poo-pooed the bed, and the Oilers won.
Okay.
I think that the Kings did beat the Oilers a little ways back. These past 3 in a row, they can't get over it. They can't slay the dragon. Okay. This is a less sexy Ovechkin versus Crosby. They're playing each other every time. Penguins win, Penguins win, Penguins win. Not this year. The Kings are winning this year. They got the home ice advantage. And let me just read something off to you real quick. The injured list of the Oilers. Yeah. Evander Kane, Regula, Klingberg, Ekholm, Frederick, Leon Draisaitl, Zach Hyman, Jake Wallman, Troy Stretcher, Darnell Nurse, and by the way, Connor McDavid until about 3 games ago. Connor's probably fine. That is a lot of injured people. Then you look at, even if they're healthy, their top 6 includes a Jeff Skinner, who can't score on me, Connor Brown, who surprised everyone last year, but he's still a medium person. Ryan Nugent-Hopkins had 110 points last year. This year he got 75? Okay. Corey Perry, who is older than us. Adam Henrique, nothing to write home about. And who else? I mean, they got nobody. They got nothing. There's nobody here that's scary except 97 and 29. And when they can take over a series, Connor McDavid has been below his standard this year. He's still good. Draisaitl is still amazing, right? He didn't win the Rocket, did he? But he might. He was up there for goals for a while, though. Anyways, he's hurt, and McDavid is not 100%. Well, they've done an okay job over it the past few years, but they just can't quite hang on. the Kings have Kopitar, Byfield, and what's his name? Danault. They are, other than probably Barkov, like the best shutdown centers. I would say Crosby, Barkov, Kopitar, Danault. These are like some of the best shutdown centers. Probably Suzuki, maybe Larkin. We haven't seen the playoffs, but like these guys can stop or manage the two big boys. And then after that, it might come down to the goaltending. And Kemper is a stud. And Stu Skinner, like Stu Coffey, is a sib. And I think it's going to be a weird series. The Oilers win 8-1, and then the next game, the Kings win 3-2. And it's going to go like this. And I got Kings in 7.
Nice. I like it.
And it's mostly goaltending because I wanted to point out, you and I talk about this a lot. There's some math to back it up. I didn't look today, so sorry if it's out of date. But I checked a month ago and I checked a couple weeks ago. Of the teams that are in the playoffs, maybe not counting Montreal, the worst goals against out of playoff teams is the Edmonton Oilers and the Toronto Maple Leafs. Because neither one of them have a real starting goalie.
Yeah.
I'm just saying, I know you can't just go out and get Shesterkin, but if the Oilers had Ullmark, they're going to win the cup. I mean, it's like if the Maple Leafs had Hellebuck, they win the cup. Yeah. It's like, what are you doing? Stu Skinner is not the difference maker. And last year he played fine. It wasn't his fault they lost, but they do it over and over again. Jack Campbell, what's his name? The older guy, Smythe.
Oh, right.
And now Stu Skinner. I mean, they've had like 5 years of they were the best offensive team in the league and we got no goalie. Yeah. You cannot win.
Well, they can take one of the 8 from Detroit.
Detroit has more goalies than defensemen.
Draisaitl for 5 goalies. We'll make the trade.
Right, you can have all of them. It's great. So, anyways, that's me. Even Rittich, he's not good enough to win the cup, but Big Save Dave can come in out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You never know. I can pick him up against Nick in the semifinal and win the week with it.
That's true.
And then lose the final. So we got to pick our Western Conference finalist. Who's going to the Stanley Cup Finals from the West?
I got this. The correct answer here is the Dallas Stars. I know you don't think they're even making it out of the first round, but I have a whole page of statistics to say otherwise.
Panthers versus Stars. You know what? I think I might have picked that in my bracket last year.
Oh, maybe.
It would be a good series.
Do you have Panthers in the East Finals?
Yeah.
Okay.
So Panthers versus
That would be
Dallas.
a good series.
Panthers and Stars.
And that's very doable. I could see that. Even though I had them losing in round 1, I could see that, though.
Yeah. All right.
Nick,
you want to click any of those? Don't go over your whole page, but
I'll go over some in a little bit, maybe.
In a little bit.
Okay.
You can let us have it now. If you got a lot of stats. Is Dallas your team?
Shoot out a couple of those.
They got a lot of depth.
Okay.
Currently, Jason Robertson is out, but their current third line, according to Daily Faceoff, is Jamie Benn, Wyatt Johnston, and Mikko Rantanen. All of those players have 50 points this year, except Jamie Benn, who has 49. Jake Ottinger has a .259 goals against average, a .909 save percentage. He's been doing really good. Their defense is so good. They have Heiskanen currently out, but, their second pair right now is Lindell and Cody Ceci, and they're 2 of the top 20 players in the league in blocked shots. Both of them have over 20 assists. This team, their fourth line, all their players have over 20 points. Over 25, I think. They just have so much depth. I don't see how many teams are going to be able to combat that down to the third and fourth line.
That's some good research there. I like that. I'm glad you brought it up, actually, because I meant to say that when I was talking. I was talking all about how good the Avs are. I forgot I had a note that was a bit of a game changer is Heiskanen. If Heiskanen's out for the whole first round, I think it is too big of a hole to fill with Makar and McKinnon and Nietzsche's, because Nietzsche's pairs well with them because he plays fast. So it's like Heiskanen is so good that when he shuts things down, he passes the puck quickly. So the whole team falls apart a little bit, I think, without his ability to transition. It's like a Quinn Hughes, even though he's like kind of less sexy than Makar and Hughes. He can get the puck up to Rupe Hintz and all those forwards quickly. And when he's out, I think that might be too big of a hole. Because we saw it in the Four Nations. I picked Finland to be the upset team. And when Heiskanen was out, it was like, well, it's too big. It's too big of a hole. When the USA loses Quinn Hughes, there's no one good enough to replace him, but they still got Werenski. They still got really good defensemen. So I'm glad you brought that up. But you do mention you don't quite see how Ottinger can get beat and the depth of that team. How are they going to lose when they have so much depth scoring? And I just go, well, then how come they lose to Minnesota, Vancouver, Utah, Detroit, Nashville, and Winnipeg? To end their season, they lost to the bottom of the league over and over again.
Fair point, but it's a very good all-around team.
Saying Nashville beat them 5-1, and they're horrible.
Heiskanen is supposed to return for the second game right now. He's not going to play in the first game of the series. He's supposed to come back in the second game, I believe.
Okay, then that could change it a little bit. I think the Avs still edge them out, but that is a big X factor for me.
Okay. All right, so you got Panthers and Dallas in the finals.
Yep.
Wait to reveal your winner till we give our
Yep.
teams, and then we'll go back and Stanley Cup winner.
Okay.
All right. So I had the Blues beating the Jets, which means they will play Stars, obviously, because they're going to beat the Avs. Easily. Dallas smokes the Blues. It's not even close. They might even sweep them. But in 5, Bennington, the magic just runs out.
Yeah.
So if Dallas can get past the Avs, I think the Blues, not even going to be a problem for them. But it does make it interesting if the Jets then...
Right.
Dallas Jets. Whew, okay. Anyway, that's not what I picked. Vegas and the Kings. Vegas. I don't think that would even be close. I see, that being an easy matchup for the Golden Knights. And then that leaves the Golden Knights and Dallas Stars. And, man, that is a tough one. Man, I
know who you should pick.
I want to pick the Dallas Stars, but it does worry me how they've been playing lately. Because a lot of what the playoffs is, who is hot right now? Who's playing the best hockey right now? So that one... I will say, who's got home ice if it's Dallas and Vegas? Who would have home ice?
Vegas has home ice.
Dang it. I don't want to do it. But I think home ice wins it in that matchup. I wanted to pick the Stars.
Okay.
I still might. Maybe, do I go Stars? I think it goes 7. And if it goes 7, I like Vegas at home. But... gosh, I don't know.
It's a coin flip.
I know.
It is a coin flip. I'll go Dallas.
There you go.
Okay.
Dallas will beat Vegas.
Finally, we agree.
Well, yeah, because we were about to be canceled. I've got Golden Knights in the final.
Oof.
It's a Golden Knights Washington Capitals rematch.
And I thought about
it's going to be, it would be an amazing series.
And for basically the same reason, I think they have the easiest path.
Yeah.
Because I have the Blues upsetting the Jets, but on paper, the Jets are quite a bit better. I wouldn't be that surprised if Jets say, we're sick of this trash talk. We're here. Last year was embarrassing. We win.
Dallas kind of the same thing. They're going to be beating up on each other.
Dallas Stars and Avalanche is going to be an intense series. I know I picked Avs in 6, but I'm not that surprised if Stars win. They're both so good.
Yeah.
Kings Oilers. I've got the Kings upset, but I'm not that surprised if Oilers, especially if Evander Kane's actually healthy. I've heard he's healthy.
Yeah.
Either way. So I think that the Knights beat the Wild somewhat easily.
Yes.
I've got the Kings upsetting the Oilers. The magic runs out. The Knights run through the Kings. If it's the Oilers, I don't know. We'll see. Same thing. Avs win. Now they got to play the Blues. Not close. The Avs are going to smoke them. If it's the Jets, it could change. So then now we got Golden Knights versus a really tired Avalanche.
Yeah.
And that's where I see a good series, but the Knights are going to be able to push past them based on an easier path.
Yeah.
And so that's how I got there. Whether it's the Stars, the Jets, or the Avs, they're going to be more worn down, especially if the Golden Knights can beat the Wild in 5 and then they get lucky and the Kings win in 7. They're going to rest for a whole week and they're going to smash them. And they're going to rest for another week waiting for probably the hardest path in the NHL is the Central. So I got the rematch, and because I'm ranting, I'll just go right into it. It's a rematch with the Golden Knights.
Oof.
Okay. And I don't want it. If the Capitals are in the final, give me an Ovechkin trophy. I want another cup. I don't want him to retire, but like you said that. You said, what if he breaks Gretzky's record and wins the cup? And does he retire? And I said, what are you smoking? It might happen. But last time they played each other, Ovechkin got the trophy finally over Fleury. It was so poetic that even though Fleury got traded, he finally got to go through the Penguins and go through Fleury to win it. And I just feel that when they go head-to-head, it's going to be this close. And I don't know, maybe the Capitals season is a little more Cinderella magic, where the Knights is like they're stacked. They're totally stacked. So that I also win the most money if it's not a lot of money, but in June I have multiple bets on the Golden Knights winning it. Got one of those little boosts.
Nice.
They do the boost thing sometimes. So.
All right.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would I would be heartbroken for Ovechkin if he made it to the Stanley Cup Finals and lost. I'm picking the Caps. So Dallas, if they make it to the finals, like you said, they're going to have gone through the hardest schedule. They're going to be worn down by that time.
Right.
I still think it's probably a good series. But with as physical as the Caps are, I mean, Tom Wilson, Ovechkin, those guys are still just going to be, throwing bodies at everybody. So it's not going to be easy for whoever they have to play. I'm maybe just hoping that this is what happens, but yes, I would love to see Ovechkin cap off this season with the Stanley Cup. He gets 2. He's already got 1, so he doesn't go down as the greatest player to never win the cup. If he gets 2, I think his legacy is already cemented, right? But like multiple Stanley Cups is the nail in the coffin.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go Caps over Dallas. 6 games, 7 games. It'll be a good 6 games. 6 games. It's not going past that. And yes, there was a time where I thought Ovechkin would retire after this, but I think he's kind of reinvigorated a little bit, So especially if he wins a cup. So now he's going to be, I think he had 1 goal tonight, so he's 3 short of 900. I heard some rumblings of maybe an extension or something next year is his last.
Go for 1,000?
Go for 1,000. And I think he would play it by ear. He's not going to sign a contract at the beginning of next season and be like, I'm going to, give me one more.
For 5 years and be getting 2 goals a year.
The first week of the season, he's going to hit 900 next year, especially if he's coming off a cup. Next year, he's just playing wild and fancy free, foot loose, no pressure at all, dude. And he's just going to be out there racking up the goals, racking up the hits.
Yep.
And I think if next year he only scores 30 goals, I think he retires. He says, you know what? All right, boom, I hit 900. I'm out.
Yeah.
Especially if he stays healthy. Everyone wants to go out on their own terms. He's also talked about playing in Russia and different things. So, whatever. But if he goes out next year and scores 50 goals, 45 goals, I think he wants 1,000. And then I think he says at the end of next season, you know what? Let me come back for one more year, see how we do.
Right.
And then if he gets close that year and doesn't, maybe another contract.
Right.
So I don't know. I could see him hanging it up. But I could also see him chasing 1,000.
Because if I agree, if he's at 922, he's like, I'm done. But if you're getting into 940, 950, you do one season and you do 40 again, and you're sitting at 980.
Yeah.
Now he's gonna try to go for it because this dude is so good. The NHL's his beer league. That's what people are saying right now. Like, he doesn't really take care of his body that much. He doesn't eat that well. Everyone on the Capitals this magical season, they're like buddy. They're all just so tight. They're so close. Yeah. They're just friends. They're goofing off, having fun. And I heard a joke that he broke the record on the island instead of in Chicago on purpose because they had 4 games until their next game. And Ovi likes to party. So he said, I'm going to break it on Long Island, and then I got the green light. I got 4 days before a game. I can go party. And they're not playing super well right now because they've been partying for 2 weeks. Now they can focus and win it. And I'm going to agree with you on this. Even though I picked the Knights to beat them, no matter who it is from the Central, if a Central team goes against the Capitals, I do think the Capitals because the tiredness thing is real. We just saw it the other way around when the Golden Knights beat the Panthers. Mm-hmm. The Panthers were limping into the finals. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk played with a broken sternum, for goodness sake. And Eichel said in an interview, we could have played a whole nother round. We were fine. Yeah. I mean, so I feel like if the Capitals go and they play a Central team, they're going to win. If they play the Golden Knights, maybe 6 or 7 Golden Knights. Eli, I feel like you're foaming at the mouth for the Dallas Stars. Let me know.
All right, so I have Stars Panthers, and at this point, the Stars will have beaten the Avalanche, Jets, and Golden Knights, and now they have to play the Panthers.
That's a lot.
And that is going to be hard.
But the Panthers,
I don't know.
In your scenario, the Panthers have to beat the Lightning.
They beat the Lightning,
the Leafs,
and Caps. So it's not like they're breezing through it either.
So that makes it a little even that they both had to go through the gauntlet to get there.
So I've got something to help even more with depth for the Stars. Okay. So a lot of injuries for the Panthers right now. I understand. So I'm going to compare the Stars' current 4th line to the Panthers' 2nd line right now.
Okay.
Currently, Panthers' 2nd line combined 42 goals. The Stars' 4th line, for this season, Stars' 4th line has 37, so pretty close.
Yeah.
And then it's 52 assists for the Stars, that 4th line, and then around 50 assists also for the 2nd line for the Panthers right now.
Okay.
So I understand there's injury, but if the Panthers' 2nd line currently is performing at the same level as the Stars' 4th line, that just testaments the depth of the Stars, and I think that even if they're battered and bruised and tired, I still think they have so many players that can do so well. I mean, they're putting up, like, Evgeny Dadonov. Yeah. He has 40 points this year playing for the 4th line on a really stacked team. He's not playing that often, but he's still putting up really good numbers. If he has to play more, I think he's going to put up pretty good numbers. I think they have a lot of depth, and that's why I'm going to pick them. I think they're a defensively sound team with a good goalie.
That's good research. And if they get past the Avs, then in theory, Heiskanen is good to go the rest of the playoffs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we got a lot of depth. I like your analysis. Obviously, you did your homework more than your dad and I did, but that'll be interesting. And to be honest, if it was Panthers Stars, I would almost feel better as a neutral fan because I don't really care who wins. And I would probably root for the Stars because the Panthers just won.
Yeah.
And I live in Florida, and it's like people don't really care about hockey, but then they're like, oh, Florida's the best at hockey. And I'm like, well, nobody on the team's from Florida. Calm down. But, and so you get some of the bandwagon comes out of nowhere. But I like that analysis. So Eli's got the Stars over the Panthers.
Stars over Panthers. Who's your Conn Smythe winner?
Oh, man, that's tough.
All right. The obvious favorite pick would be Ovechkin, but I do think if the Capitals win the Stanley Cup, I say Dylan Strome wins Conn Smythe.
I think that's a good pick. I kind of disagree a little bit because I can't remember who it was. Maybe Jake Gensel. There was a year where Crosby was not the best player, but he won the Conn Smythe because he was Crosby.
And I think Ovechkin would get some votes for that, but I think Dylan Strome would be the more all around. He would come up with kind of like the Zetterberg year, makes a few good defensive plays, has some more assists, and some timely goals.
You know what? Here's the unpopular opinion. I think Barkov should have won last year. I know that when Connor McDavid broke that record, it was like everyone just lost their mind. But I feel very strongly that the media votes on those awards and they're biased to Canada. Kucherov didn't win the Hart. McKinnon did. Kucherov had more points on a worse team. How is that even a debate? It doesn't make any sense. And then Connor McDavid, they said, look, he broke a Gretzky record. He's the best. And I said, his team lost by 1 goal in Game 7, so it's fine. I'm not mad about it. But Barkov,
because it's a play. To me, I love how the NHL does. It's a whole playoff MVP. It's not just
it's not
finals
just
MVP or whatever.
I still thought that Barkov shut down everyone, including McDavid. McDavid didn't have a lot of points in the finals because Barkov shut him down. How do you not win? You're the captain of the team that won. You're the best player on the team that won. I think Barkov should have won it.
If he's not on that team, the Panthers still probably make the finals, though.
And if Connor McDavid's not on the team, Oilers aren't touching the second round.
Yeah, they're not touching it, that's for sure. But
I think McDavid means more to the Oilers on paper than Barkov does to the... Barkov shows leadership and is more valuable to the Panthers in some untangible ways. I think.
And
don't
I
always show up on the
down
stats.
Defense because every team they play, you nullify their star player, even the best player in the whole world. So it's like, I don't know, maybe I'm biased because I'm a goalie and I'm like that type of a center is like so invaluable.
Yeah.
Where, okay, who scored the most goals? Probably Sam Reinhart or Matthew Tkachuk. I don't have it in front of me, but you can get goals from somebody somewhere. McDavid obviously is a freak, but anyways, all that to say,
my Conn Smythe, I think I'm going to go with Rupe Hintz as my Conn Smythe.
I like it.
That's a good one.
I don't think Jason Robertson will perform as well as he will in the playoffs. I don't think he'll have...
Rupe Hintz is a little more consistent.
Yeah. And I kind of feel like on a team that deep, whoever scores the most goals, or Miro Heiskanen, or Ottinger. That's it.
Yeah. It's hard because they have so many good players that I feel like could do really well. Like, even on their third line, Wyatt Johnston could play super well out of his mind.
Yep.
But it's just there are so many good players, it's kind of hard to pinpoint one superstar.
Yeah. Well, it's
like, I think is above the rest.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the Lightning. Hedman won Conn Smythe. You probably could have given it to Kucherov. But, Hedman just held down the fort, and so I could see a Heiskanen in that scenario. Rupe Hintz has a good chance to score the most goals, so I could see that. I guess for me, I'm going to go, if the Golden Knights win it, I think it'll probably be Eichel.
Yeah.
Even if there's a toss-up, if it's close, Aiden Hill, Eichel, whoever, Stone, if there's a few guys, they're going to give the votes to Eichel.
Yeah, I can see that.
And he is playing really well this year, and he's underrated defensively.
Yes.
I think that everyone talks about Matthews because it's the Maple Leafs, but Matthews, Marner, Eichel, of course we know Larkin and Nick Suzuki. There's some underrated two-way centers, and I think Eichel's defensive game is underrated. So I'll go Knights. I'll go Eichel.
Nice.
But I hope not. Let's root for the Wild. Let's root for the Stars. Let's root for the Jets.
A Wild Caps Stanley Cup final would be
Fleury Ovechkin again.
Ovechkin Fleury again. Yes. Yeah.
I like repeat the handshake line.
And you know what? If it can still happen where it's a Leafs versus Oilers, I'm still down for that, by the way. I just would love, it's so funny if the Leafs lose to Ottawa. It's just so funny.
Yeah, I hope they do. I just don't know that they will.
They're super good. They're super good. They could win that.
By the Panthers or the Lightning, though.
I do think that they'll just get bullied by either team. They do not want the smoke. They don't want to play Panthers or Lightning.
They can't handle them physically.
No, I don't think they can. I agree with you.
Or emotionally, or psychologically. Any of the Lees, they can't handle them.
Oh boy.
The Leafs are falling off the tree, baby. Okay. Does anyone have anything else we forgot to talk about?
I don't think so.
And we'll do the next rounds as they progress and our predictions were wrong. Then we'll talk all about the Wild versus the Oilers.
When Stu's all wrong.
I'm wrong on every single one. The Devils and the Canadiens are going after it.
We'll revisit. I probably would. Man, I might watch that series just because the Canadiens have some good young talent, but that doesn't really intrigue me that much either. If it was a Canadiens Devils.
Oh yeah, no. I mean, I'd be rooting for the Canadiens, I guess, and I'm on the East Coast, right? I mean, so I'm not. I'm not watching the Kings Oilers unless the game is on a Friday or Saturday, basically, and I want to watch that. It's just too late.
Yeah,
that's the other reason I want the Stars to go to the final. That'd be great. It's Central Time. That's not that bad. Yeah. I don't want Edmonton. I don't want
Stars Panthers is perfect for you.
Right, Stars Panthers is perfect for me. You're right. So maybe Eli's. That's what we want. Yeah. And my dad's boss lives right next to the Panthers, so I mean, let's try to get some tickets going here, boys.
If it goes Vegas Panthers, the travel in the finals that'd be rough.
It's pretty bad. It's pretty bad. Not as bad as Oilers,
but still would not be great.
Yeah. All right. I'm fading quickly.
Let's wrap it up. We kept it under 2 hours. We aimed for an hour and a half. We did all right with some track stories. So good job, guys. Good research. Eli, thanks for joining us. Everyone, thank you for listening. Like, subscribe, share, all that. Let's go. Who are we rooting for? Capitals and the Wild. Sure.
Yep. Let's go. All right. Make them make the first move, Conway.
Keep your stick on the ice. Thanks, guys.